G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach with DR and welcome to the Round 6 review. Hope you had a cracking weekend. Look, for me, it was pretty much a weekend full of carnage. As you can see, it wasn't a fantastic round rank for me. The Supercoach side took a little bit of a dip outside the top 1% into the top 2%. Now, I was expecting that, remember, with my trades last week. I did look to get 2 money makers in rather than looking to get an upgrade. So, as expected, things weren't fantastic this week, but some unexpected subs. We'll get to the team in a little bit, but the main carnage for me actually came on the Sunday. Now, my oldest son plays football, Nash, played on the Sunday against his old side he used to play for, bit of a rival side, you could say, and they do tend to give him a fair bit of attention, and I won't go into it too much, but long story short, copped a bit of a late hit. There was a kid that on the opposition team that had given one of the other blokes on our side a bit of a late hit, yellow carded, then came back onto the ground. And then just before the 3/4 siren, he got Nash about a second late after he disposed of the footy, whacked his head and then fell awkwardly in his neck sort of shoulder region. So he wasn't in a great way, sent him off to the hospital, had to spend the night there. And I tell you what, the chair that I had to sleep on, the unworldly bodily fluidly substances that were on that chair, I cannot describe. Literally had to get some paper towel, whack it over there, and got about half an hour to 45 minutes sleep if I was lucky, I think. So I'm still just running at the moment, running on some fumes, but with the short turnaround, had to get this one out. But yeah, the diagnosis in the end, a concussion and a vertebral fracture. So although things could have been a lot worse, still not fantastic news, but yeah, very thankful that yeah, there was nothing, well, no major damage. Now, I'm going to share a quick photo of him. Now, the only reason I'm going to share this is because I'm sure there are some people that are watching this video, lots of you that probably play footy yourselves. And look, this can be the outcome of a late hit. Now, when you play footy, go in hard. Absolutely. Put your head over the football, but do it fairly and do it reasonably. Don't go for any cowardly late hits. And look, they're only kids. I'm not going to say too much, but this is the potential outcome. Now, remember, Nash got off all right here with just a fracture of the vertebrae, but it could have been a lot worse. So before you think of giving someone a late hit or, you know, getting some revenge or whatever it is, just think of the potential outcome. This is what it can lead to. So, yeah, as I said, only kids, so I won't give him too much stick. But, yeah, he's all good now. Got him a bacon egg McMuffin on the way home. He's in my bed. This is actually his room that I record in. You can see his jumper there. It's one thing he wanted me to do was put it up there. It's his jumper that he plays with, and they actually had to cut it. So that's why it's up there, because I didn't want him to lift his arm, so I had to cut around it, and that's I suppose a little bit of a trophy that he's put up there. So yeah, but all good now. But yeah, just want to put that out there because yeah, it can be a very, very dangerous game when played fairly, but with these late hits, I just don't think there's any room for that in the game. But back to Supercoach. Let's get back to, I was going to say let's get back to the positives, but not a lot of positives for this week. 19-10 for round score, certainly well below par. As I said, outside the top 1% into the top 2%. Now, certainly not the end of the world, but you do want to be going up rather than going down. The trades that I made last week were designed to allow me to start to upgrade within the next few weeks. I'll go through a little bit of a plan. Today, I will go through a bit of a philosophy, my trade philosophy going into the next month at least. You may agree or you may disagree with it. I'm only quickly going to go over my side in regards to a review for this week. Had some real underperforming premiums. I'll mainly go through the blokes who I think are ready to go out of the side, ready to cull, and also the blokes that are certainly on my radar. Too many options this week. So it's funny. It's a little bit hypocritical saying that. I'm going to give you my trading philosophy, but for the first time in a while, I'm really going to ask for some community advice. So whether or not you're someone that just tunes into my videos, you're a casual player, or you're a content creator that's tuning in, I would love your feedback on what trades you think that I should look to make this week. I'm going to go through a number of scenarios, so that would be much appreciated. I don't often ask for too much help, but I'm just all over the place at the moment. Maybe it's because I haven't had too much sleep, but we'll get into how the side's looking, as I said, very quickly, and then hopefully lock in a couple of trades. So that's it for the intro, guys. Hope that you're well. Let's see how the team's actually looking. Alrighty, so after trades last week, I now have 316,600 in the bank. It was Macrae out, Jai Clark out, in came Will Graham from the Suns. That was a really obvious one. And I did bring in Charlie Comben as well in my forward line. Now, hopefully we're not referring to Charlie as a forward during the next month, but we will get to him in a sec. But yeah, I do have a fair bit of coin to work with this week if I want to go there and use all of it. And I've also got 2 boosts up the sleeve. So didn't boost last week, was really keen just to leave at least 2 for possibly this week, and then maybe near the buy rounds or for another potential week where we've got some absolute must-haves. I just didn't want to burn another one to only have 1 left. So 2 boosts I think is okay. Maybe the pack is coming back towards me after maybe going a little bit harder than I did last week. But premiums this week were interesting to say the least. Now, Sheasel, I was really happy with the 110. There was a potential Finn tag. Now, Finn did give him a little bit of attention, but nothing too bad in the end. I'll take a 110 from that every day of the week. Luke Ryan, only an 89. This was his first failure of the year, so I'm going to give him a mulligan here. I'm not worried about Ryan for some reason. Now, you don't want, scores under 90 when you've got a player at 640k, but there's no way that he could have kept up that giant ceiling. He had to come back at some stage, but if this is a floor score, that's fine from me. And then we get to the first sub. Massimo with a 60 actually got scaled up a few points here, which was nice. Had a really decent first half, Supercoach-wise, then a really quiet third quarter. Subbed out, Huswaite came on, and damn, this just really hurts his cash gen. Now, if he's named this week, I'm going to hold on to him potentially, but if I do want to go hard, he's going to be one player I'm going to have to say goodbye to. So, yeah, not the greatest of moves with Massimo, but it could have been worse. Imagine if he had got scaled down to a 50 rather than a 60. We need to take every bit of cash that we can from these picks at the moment. On to the second sub, Zach Williams. Now, we're always worried about this. I don't think that the injury is anything too major, but again, I'm not sure if he's going to get up this week. I believe someone stepped on his Achilles. I could be wrong about that. Someone could correct me on that one. But at this stage, again, what do you do with him? Is it time to trade? I don't know if he's got the biggest break even. We'll look at break evens in a sec, but it certainly is concerning having Massimo and Zach Williams down there. What may bless us this week is the DPPs that have just come in. We'll also talk about that as well. Massimo was one of the players that benefited from that. Howes didn't play last week, but decided to keep him for a number of reasons I went through in my final trades video I put out the other week. We'll be holding him. Hopefully he can make me some more coin. Closing with a 75. It's pretty simple, this bloke. Just get him on field. After a couple of tons, he gives us this. And again, if it's a floor type score, I will take that. Was looking really good early on, a nice goal, but slowed up a little bit towards the end. This is fine, though. What a wonderful pick he is. Hoare and Reed, obviously still not playing. I'm hoping Hoare, is he potentially back this week, if not the week after? With injuries I've got down back, fingers crossed there's a spot for him. And I still think Reed is a few weeks out, but he's getting closer as well. The issue with keeping guys like this on your bench is that, for example, if the Williams goes down, you're either having to trade him out or copping a donut. And I'd much rather trade them out than cop a donut. So backline isn't looking fantastic at the moment, but I can make it look a lot better in a sec. Onto the midfield, Butters, I ended up using him as my captain this week because Jack Steele was my vice captain, only an 84, so very disappointing. But the Saints, that fixturing, I think, is pretty crazy. What was it, 3 days in 12-odd days? So, again, similar to Ryan, I'm going to give Jack Steele a mulligan, but I think he deserves one, an even bigger one than Luke Ryan, because he was just buggered, I think. And the same as Rowan Marshall. For Rowan owners, super unlucky, but it just looked like the poor big fella needed the rest. They'd been just... What do you say? I really feel for St Kilda players and supporters, because I think that fixture was ridiculous. But hopefully with a bit more of a rest, they'll hit back. And I'm expecting a big response from St Kilda, and Jack Steele will be the one to lead that response. I'm really sure of that. So, yeah, not worried on Jack Steele. The Bont 125, nice bounce back game from him. He's coming down, so under 650k. I made a bold call at the start of the season, and I said Bont will not go below 650k for the season. So 6-7 rounds in, that call is already a bad one. So, yeah, apologies for anyone that did listen up to that one. But, yeah, still not concerned with the Bont. I'm however concerned with Tom Green. Now, this is an 82. I was claiming it'd be the M1 after a wonderful start. My plan originally was to flip him. remember when it came to his buy, if I had have gone through with that, that would have been absolutely genius. Same as my backline that I was going to run with. I was going to start with Houston, remember, and then trade in to Nick Dacos. If only I had have gone with those two moves, my ranking could have been a lot different at the moment. But again, hindsight, we don't talk about hindsight. At the moment with Tom Green, I'm just going to keep him. I'm just going to keep him. I'm not going to think about trading him out. He's a premium. I started him for a reason, still averaging 114. So I still think there's time for him to bounce back, but did look pretty lethargic to me, getting from contest to contest. No real urgency. So a little bit concerned, but no way I'm trading him out. Nick Dacos, really nice bounce back from King Nick, 133. If you trade him in this week, and particularly if you didn't start him, what a move that would have been. For those that traded him out early, that did start him and then brought him back in, again, this was the right move, I think. So well done to those people. Nick Martin with a 114. Stoked with what he's doing at the moment. We'll be able to move him down back. Unfortunately, I did trade out Brody Grundy to bring Nick in, but did get 2 scores out of him. But damn, Brody Grundy. My trade outs this year, the week after, my exes have been giving me nightmares. But again, not going to dwell on that one because we've got Harley Reid, 147. I did not see this one coming. I thought, geez, he might struggle to average 80 this year. But at the moment, 90.2 and potentially maybe a bit of a long shot, but could be a forward keeper for us if he continues with this good run. A super talented kid, so who knows? Sky's the limit for him. And Matty Roberts, 117. I just applaud this young fella. What a pick he's been. 383,000 now and keeping on rising. So I know there was people that traded him out last week. My advice in the stocky was please don't trade him out. He's got much more money to make and he's a great on-field option and did not come to fruition this week. So 117 on-field, best 18. Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much, Matty. Darcy Wilson with a 69. Really nice from Darcy. That 25 is now out of the system. So he's starting to make money again. And one of it's his best score for the year, I think. Potentially or right up there. So, yep, 2 thumbs up from him. Will Graham with a 61. Again, this is fine. Just a bench option, making money and got that DPP status, defender and a midfielder. So really happy with that trade in. And then we've got Sanders. Now, when I talk about my trade philosophy, you probably watch my final trades videos. Most people that are tuning in here. So I won't go through it too much. But long story short with this one, I was looking to initially trade him out. Janet and I were on the phone about this one. But at the end of the day, I was just not expecting him to start as a sub. I just thought there's no way in the world after last week. Libba's out. Bevo, I really want to show this guy. Yeah, I've got faith in you, mate. The midfield's yours for the night while Libba's out. It just did not happen. Everyone else was getting togged. But yeah, it just didn't happen for Ollie. But the reason why I didn't trade him out is because, as I mentioned, I didn't expect it to happen. And I didn't want to make one of these last-minute trades because when I panic trade last minute, and this would have been a huge decision because it would have been an upgrade to an absolute uber primo, I tend to make the wrong move. So I decided I'm just going to keep him for now, cop the cash loss, and I did decide to go Macrae out, who lost even more money, as well as Jai Clark. Now, the issue with Jai Clark is that you could have just left him there to burn, eventually, hopefully go back up again. But in the short term, I thought, no, I just can't afford to be losing that much coin. I'm going to trade all these guys out, but I think that Clark will probably lose a little bit more than Sanders, and Macrae will lose a little bit more than Sanders anyway. So that's the reason why I've still got Sanders now. But probably in my trading plans, trade out plans for this week. Gordon didn't play it. Now, Dogger, this is an interesting one. I really should have. The best move was just to get rid of him when he was at his price peak, but I had too many other things going on, unfortunately. So I'm pretty much just going to look to transfer him into the forward line. Hopefully he can be a forward keeper. If he really spuds it up this week, I may need to look to move him on. But yeah, he'll be a big part of my trade plans, whether or not I keep him or trade him next week, with a big ruckman coming down in price and ready to grab, I think, anyway. So that's pretty much it for the rucks for now. Heaney with the 98. So if this is a failure from Heaney, I'll take it every day of the week. Was going to be in my captaincy plans, but my fallback, I thought I'll go with Butters. I just feel is a bit of a safer option. And Butters was absolutely going off tap in the first quarter. Very quiet second, very quiet third. Stepped it up in the last again, but the game was over by then. Yeah, wanted a 150. I thought that was certainly going to be possible early on, but it is what it is. Flanders with a 110. Fantastic again, getting a heap of the football, not using it overly well at times, but he's getting so much of it. that's all good with 110. Sort of in a way like Nick Martinish, but I don't think at Nick Martin levels. Tom Powell, the 73. Now, oh no, a bit of a conspiracy theory. Now, it may be the lack of sleep, but I swear Champion Data, they miss tackles with this bloke. They just hate scoring Tom Powell well, but it is what it is. Is he going to be a forward keeper? I think it's now borderline. I'm less confident on him than what I was certainly 3 weeks ago. But in saying that, even if he's not, he's been a really successful pick because he's made over 100K, I'm pretty sure. So that's all good with Tom Powell for now. But question marks going forward. Nat 5 with 89, beautiful. I think we just hold for now. Again, potential to be a forward premium here with your reads. I know it could be a bit of a long shot, but the issue with Fife is his age, his body. I'm sure that he'll need another rest. So we'll see what happens there, but easy hold for now. Now, this is a big issue. Charlie Comben, stuff you, Clarko. You wouldn't believe it. I said I wasn't going to ramble about my own side, but sorry. Now, this could all of a sudden be a failed pick. First quarter, looking fantastic. 2 contested intercept marks. I think it was 4 or 5 disposals at 100% efficiency. I thought, here we go, beautiful. This is going to be the pick that I wanted on field. Everything is all good. Bit of a quieter second term, but still good again. Another intercept mark, some disposals. I don't think all of them were efficient, but still everything's fine. And then we get to halftime, come out for the third quarter, and we see him thrown forward. You would not believe this, right? I thought, no, please, no. I'm seeing things. I'm seeing things. He's got confused. He's at the wrong end. Oh, no. He was forward. I reckon within the first 4 minutes, got a tackle. I thought, maybe. Played a little bit of ruck time here and there. Minimal, though. Just basically did not touch the ball for the entire second half when he was played forward and ended up on a 55. So I think he was close to a 40 at halftime and then put, 15 points on for the rest of the game. It was looking like an 80. It was looking like the pick that I wanted. I wanted a 75 to an 80 this week, and everything would be fine with the cash gen and my plans for him anyway. Safe to have on field, getting that DPP status. But no, Clarko absolutely stuffed that for me. And now I'm paranoid that they may troll it again. The good news was that I don't think that it worked. You know, they still got scored against. Comben just had no effect up forward whatsoever. So I'm hoping that Clarko just goes, okay, failed experiment. We tried it for half. Let's put him down back where he actually had a really good impact. He was their best defender, in my opinion. Core had a decent start to the game as well, but I think Comben should be the main man there. You know, why didn't you chuck a biggie forward, Clarko? It's just super frustrating. So I hope that this works out. But that 55 now in his system, damn, it kills. This is just unlucky. It's really unlucky because he was legitimately looking good. But anyway, it is what it is. Cadman with a 60 could be potentially on the chopping block this week, but does have a little bit more coin to make. That's all good. Darty with a 49, maybe has another week in him. I think we may look to chop. And then Sexton did not play. He was pulled out of the VFL, and I thought there is a chance here it could be a laid in. So for now, I may just look to keep him because I think he's on the cusp and he's got a -6 break even, which means that even if he's a sub or just gets the 1-2 games maybe within the next month, then he's got more coins to make. I'd much rather him hopefully get above 200K than trade him out now and then he gets a game in a couple of weeks and I'll be kicking myself. So that's the team at the moment. Let's get into, before I talk about the way that I'm going to look about my trades, we'll talk about the blokes that may actually be ready to chop. So we'll look at break even. So obviously the primos I'm not going to touch. So Sheasel Ryan, you're safe. Butters Bond, Steel Green, Dacos, Martin, you're safe. Gorn. I could do something here, but I'm going to keep Jacko for now. This may be the wrong move because look at that break even. It's 141. They're projecting a 97. They're playing, who are they playing? The Dogs. I'm worried about this, but yeah, keeping him for now. Gorn stays. Haney Flanders, Powell will stay. Fife will stay. Comben stay. Okay. Then we look to the mid prices. So we've got D'Ambrosio here, obviously subbed off last week with a break even of 45. Williams here has a break even of 62 now. So it's certainly getting towards the red. Certainly a candidate. Now, House has a break even of 21. So again, you keep him. Close is an obvious one. I'm not going to trade these guys now, given the fact I've held them for so long. Reed's an obvious hold, so is Roberts. Sanders is the obvious trade out as well here. Wilson we keep, Graham we keep. Cadman, definitely potential to trade out. So I'll go down a little bit there. So he's got a break even of 36, 32 for Darcy, and then we've got Sexton. So I'm just going to firstly make a really easy trade that I'll get out the way, and then we can talk about what else I'm going to do. So for me, Sanders has got to go because he's got to break even over 100 now. We don't know what's going to happen to the sub. It gets bevoed, so I'm just out of the pick now. And I think that the really obvious one is going to be Hugo Garcia. So really impressive. I'll go through him in the stock market. That gives me almost 500K now, 494K. But I certainly think that there's a role there for him now. Jones isn't playing overly well. Philippou, I think he needs a rest or at least some time in the VFL. So I think these job security is actually okay. An absolute tackling beast. I'll go through his VFL numbers in the stocky and all the rest. So won't talk a lot about him now, but I think that he's basically close to a must trade in. So that's the first trade I'm going to make. And I think Sanders is close to a must trade out. So now we've got 494,200. So before I look to the other options, I'll go through a bit of this trade philosophy that I was talking about. So with so much cash in the bank, right, it's almost like you've won the lottery. I've got a few options here. Now, I could go out and get a Ferrari. I could blow all of my coin. I could go out and get a mansion. But there's been so many stories, excuse me, of people that have won the lottery, blown it all, and then have nothing to show for it. There may not be any future income. And that's something that we've got to look at here as well. You know, where's the future money coming from? Where are the downgrades on the horizon? Who's coming up cheap? These are all things that we really need to keep in mind. Now, the tempting thing to do here is just to go straight up to an absolute Uber. Now, I'd love to do something in my midfield. You know, the Uber types I'm talking about are your Rows, your Zerets, your Petracas now. These are the blokes that you just love to have on your side, and the blokes that you think are going to give you those big points that are going to be the real backbone of your side, and the blokes that possess a really nice ceiling. And I could go there. I've got so much money in the bank now, and it's super tempting. I've got a few mid prices that are ready to chop. So there's a lot of options that I've got up my sleeve. But the way that I see it is that we've got to look at our future planning, as I said, and what I'm looking to do now is try to invest in some value. I think with the way my side's looking, when I look at my cash gen, value is something that I've really, really got to focus on. And I'm going to really try to stay disciplined here and not go for the all-in-all Ferrari pick. Now, you may disagree, and that's why I'd love some advice here. But that's pretty much my trading philosophy. I don't want to spend all of my lottery winnings all at once. I want to just even it out over the next few weeks and allow myself to get, say, instead of 2 really, really good players, maybe 3 players. But the issue then comes down to when you're looking at value, generally there are risks associated with value. They're value for a reason. Whether or not they haven't had the best start to the season, they're coming back for an injury, they may have durability concerns, there may be question marks around their role when other players come into the side, or with the Jack Macraes of the world, who they're coached by. So there are so many factors that we need to take into account here. And I could make the complete wrong decision, but we need to live and die by our own decisions in this game. So I'll go through some of the potential options that I'm looking to get out. The first bloke down back, I think, may be a must trade out option for me. As I mentioned before, we've got Hoare and Reed here, who won't be playing this week, to my knowledge. Slight chance Hoare comes up, but I don't think so. I still think he's maybe another week away. If he does come up, then that may change my potential plans. We'll see about that. But it's Williams here. It's Williams here. Now, what I will quickly do, actually, is just get this backline looking like it should, or as good as it can be. It doesn't make much difference if you're just swapping players on field, but that gives you a better outlook of how my backline's actually structured up. So Sheasel, Ryan, Dacos, Martin as the 4 premiums there. Then I'm looking to get 2 more. And originally my plans were going to be Tom Stewart in this week. I thought he's going to present some really nice value and I'll get him into my backline. That means I'm only looking for one more defensive premium and I've got my pick of the bunch. The issue is obviously concussed out this week, and then he's probably going to be a trading target for me maybe a couple of weeks after that, depending on how he goes afterwards. So now he's out of my plans. My plans now have to change. But Williams, I think for me, still has to go. Now, where I'm lucky is that I can either trade in defender or else I've got Closey or D'Ambrosio that I can simply flip down back for him. So that's really handy there. D'Ambrosio obviously is another option here, but if I'm choosing between the two, I'm trading out Williams. The other bloke originally that I was looking to trade out this week, even after the news that came forth, was Aaron Cadman. And the reason for that is the fact that I really don't want to be playing Cadman or Darcy on field. And now that Comben has been thrown forward, I've now got major question marks on him. So I'm now so paranoid going into a best 24 week, getting into a little bit more normality here, that these two spots could really, really hurt me. I just hope that Comben goes back. If I see him named down back or see him playing down back on the first bounces there, then there'll be so much relief that comes over me. I'm just going to risk it for this week and play him on field, I think. So that's a big concern, but fingers crossed that works out. It was going to be Cadman because I did want to get Reed back into my forward line. And that way I could either bring in a midfielder here or at least get a Graham Madarcia or a Wilson on. I've got more faith in these guys than probably what I do with a Cadman. But with Cadman looking to probably make some more coin now with that 36 break even, maybe those plans should change. The other question I need to ask myself, is it worth using a boost? So let's get into some of these potential trades. So first of all, we'll talk about if I just look to go a defender in for Zach Williams, because Zach Williams probably is the bloke that I'm looking to trade. Now, I can obviously bring anyone in, 821,000, and still have some coin in the bank for a move next week. If I go by average, Elliot Yeo, I did have the chance to jump on this week, but I did say I'm going to anti-pot him for the season. That may have been a very bad decision because his body looks to be holding up. He's in phenomenal form at the moment, 130, 150 odd, and back that up with a 112. It is way too late now, in my opinion, with his concerns. So certainly can't go there. Same as McGovern. I just want to anti-pot him the whole way. I'm not going to go Vlosten. Blakey, no. I've got Martin. Whitfield would just be so much of a stressful pick. I'm not going there. Clark is a potential option that presents value. And then you've got Stewart there, who I will target. Hayden Young, gee, that's unlucky, isn't it? So with that potential hamstring concern, you can't go there. Sinclair maybe later. Sissler I'm not interested in. And then, yeah, pretty much no other options there. But there is one here in Dan Houston. Now, as you know, if you followed me during the preseason, I was so big on Dan Houston. And he finally had a bit of a ceiling game on the weekend. He's looked great all season. Look, hasn't been smashing it out of the park, but has not gone under the ton once. So just been a super consistent pick. And this week, he's coming up against St Kilda. And we all know about what opposition defenders do when they play St Kilda. They turn into absolute animals, very, very bad men. He's the bloke that if I could choose any defender to have in my side, it's Dan Houston. He's got a fantastic buy as well. I'm running with Ryan, Houston, Jackson at the moment, maybe Fife if I hold him for that long as Port and Freo. Oh, and I've got Butters, sorry, there as well. So I will have 5 on that buy, but it is a very, very friendly buy in saying that. Now, the issue with Houston is that when we talk about value, I don't think that he presents a heap of value at the moment. Now, with a break-even 79 and a predicted score of 122, there is value this week. But when we look at other players, when we look at our big boy midfielders, where is he? 597, you're getting very close to 600K. Do you just go up and pay the extra 20, 30, 50K, 60K to one of the absolute uber elite mids? It just seems a lot to pay for a defender at the moment with some of the options that we've got available. So I'm really not sure whether or not I should go Dan Houston. I will have some coin to make a move next week. And that's one thing, again, that I'm taking into account. What moves am I looking to make next week? So the other option I've got is to simply get Closey back there, and he's going to be a super reliable on-field option. And then you've got all the primo mids. So if you go by average, the obvious selection to many is going to be Sam Walsh. 576,800, averaging 148 if you don't mind. So he's going to be above 600K by the end of next week. Now, I've talked about Walsh a little bit, and my main concern with Walsh is the back injury. Now, the thing with backs, right, is that if it flares up and he needs some time off, the time of return or the date of return sometimes is unknown. They may say it's looking like a week just for rest, and that turns into 2, 3, 4 more. We've seen it happen with players before, and I just really don't want that stress. Will he even play through the pain and then just underperform? He's a tough sort of a bloke, Sam Walsh, and he'll certainly put his hand up, even if he's 80-odd%. That's my view anyway. Will the Carlton medical staff allow that? I'm not too sure. There's just so many question marks when you're talking about back concerns. There was even talk that it could affect him for the rest of his career, and there were really big concerns with him moving forward. So I just don't know if I can go there. Apart from that, there are so many good signs. You know, the CBA rate, he's looking phenomenal, isn't he? Getting so much of the football. I really love Sam Walsh as a player, as a pick. He's so talented. I just don't know if I can go there. It could really come back to burn me, though, because when you're looking at all the big boys, you're really having to pay up at the moment for your Raos, for your Zerets. Sarong's coming down. He's another player that we could certainly look at. 576K for a potential top 8 mid, and he's playing like a top 8 mid at the moment, isn't he? Could be too hard to knock back, even with those potential injury concerns. So I was not considering him at all. But I think that realistically, you've got to take a look at him. I've at least got to really, really look at him as a pick now. So it is tempting me. I just don't know if I can go there. I've done it with McGovern. I've done it with Yo. And that's sort of, I won't say it's come back to burn me, because I was never realistically looking to start them. But for anyone that did go there, then they've been duly rewarded. Shout out to JD for going with Yo. Right from the start of the year, he started, Joe. So kudos to you, my friend. But with Sam Walsh, do I finally break the rule? I've seen two, Zorko. Look at what's happened to Dane Zorko. So all these blokes that I don't pick because of age, durability, they're smashing it out of the park. But knowing my luck, I'll get Sam Walsh in and he'll be the one to go down. I just don't know if I can go there. Everything apart from the back concerns, it's tick, tick, tick. Do I trust my gut or not? I'm just not sure on Sam Walsh. Again, we'll get Closey back there. The other, primo mids that I like, Rao, obviously, he's got a really nice run coming up. 640K, just keeps on going from strength to strength. So the average is 130.2 and the 3-rounder is 130. So super consistent. Really doesn't look like failing. I think even in this game, last week, bit of a slow start on the Supercoach scoreboard, but we know what he does. Just so contested, tackles like a madman. I'd just love to have him in the side. Love to have him in. I've got Butters. Sarong. Now, Sarong's coming down to a much more friendly price. 613K for his season to date, I think is actually pretty decent value. So he's got to come into consideration, Caleb Sarong. 613,800. 3-rounder isn't too good, 107, but the break even for him is 123. So with a season average of 126, he's really putting his hand up for a top 4 average, certainly top 8 at the moment. Again, really, really nice buy, same as Houston. So, yeah, very tempted by Caleb Strong if I do decide to go big there. Zeret is the other one. We know what his runs coming up is like, but he has a bit of a high break even coming up against Collingwood, but then it's so good. It's even good for him on Anzac Day, I know, but we talked about the Ferrari before. He's a Ferrari at the moment, and I'm just not going there. Spent a little bit of time forward as well in that second half. after looking like he was going to go 140, similar to Butters in the first half. But yeah, probably no for now. Flans I've got. Neal's going to be no. Green I've got. Miller, no at the moment. Then you've got the cement bag, Christian Petracca. So this is a really tough one. It's an awkward time for him to be coming up against Richmond because his break-even's around the 140 to 150 mark, and I genuinely think that he could hit that this week. Issue is that really low score's still be in his system, and then his break-even's still going to be high, even if he hits his break-even the week after. So I'm hoping he can get down to around 580K. I'm really not a fan, if possible, of spending over 600K on a player. If I've got the luxury to do that, then I will at some stage if the team's looking a little bit better, if the cash gen's guaranteed to be there. But I'm loath to do that at the moment if possible. But I want to get him in, but I still think there's a little bit of value to have here. We may miss out on a big score against Richmond, but I'm probably willing to do that in order to get him at a more friendly price in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, he's a bit of a wait and see track. Dunkley, no. Zorko's the other one up. I'll talk about forwards in a minute. Anderson got tagged during this game. I'm just not going to go there. Errol's just not looking like it for me at the moment. Laird is a no. Bolton's a forward. And then we get to this bloke here. Giordano Dawson. Wowee. What a game from Jordan. I have not had enough sleep to really dissect this pick. Now, I'm going to be speaking with some of the best over the next couple of days. We don't even have a couple of days. I need to get on my bike today at some stage. I need to speak with the best of the best and really dissect this pick, do a real deep dive into this pick, because this is going to be a major decision for many people. Jordan Dawson. Now, the obvious red flag to this pick has been the fact this is the first time that he's hit the ton and Matty Crouch wasn't playing. So very obviously, they're the two things that are going to stand out. What's going to happen with Crouch moving forward? What's going to happen with Dawson moving forward? I really don't know. There are question marks. And again, it goes back to what I was saying before. When you look at value, there are generally reasons why the player's giving you some value, and there are usually going to be some red flags. And I've just outlined the two with Jordan. However, let's look at the positives. If we look back to his average last year, this man was an absolute animal, a real breakout year in the midfield, such a damaging left foot. And as a premium pick going into this year, I think that most good coaches at least considered Dawson. Many may not have been overly keen as a starting pick, but I think that for anyone that did start him, there wouldn't have been too many of us that would have said, oh, no, geez, do not start Dawson. I think for most of us would have said that is fine, should have another good season. Could even go a little bit better and do more on top of what he did in 2023, but just hasn't been his year to date. Now, Crouch has been affecting him, I believe, with that role. The week before he got this 175, he was even moved forward. So this was looking just like such a bad pick. And if you did jump off last week, bad luck. But in saying that, if you were going to jump off, you needed to do it a couple of weeks prior. If you did hold strong, congratulations. I'm genuinely so happy for you guys. You really did deserve it. Now, does this continue? For some reason, his boot didn't let him down as much as what it has been during the first 4 weeks. Let's get to some of the positives, and it's his fantasy ratio. Sorry, it's his fantasy score, not his ratio. Well, if you play fantasy, it's a nice ratio. If you play Supercoach, it has been a terrible ratio, apart from obviously last week. Why is this? He's just been butchering the ball. Just terrible disposal efficiency. We've gone through the numbers week upon week, but this week it was nowhere near as bad. Got a heap of the footy as well. Did kick a couple of goals, so that certainly adds to the ceiling. But 2 goals doesn't get you to a 175. You've got to do a lot more than that. He has been tackling really well, which we're well aware of. But with Dawson, it really has been that efficiency and the fact that he has been played out of position at times. The CBA rate has been interesting with him if you do look at the numbers, which I won't go through now. We'll go through that in the stock market video. But when we look at it, he has lost over 100K still. We are getting absolute value if we can see anything like the role anyway, and that efficiency, what we saw this week. I'm not expecting 2 goals to really add to that huge ceiling, but Jordan Dawson is a bloke. He is a bloke that can average 120. He's got the potential. Do I think he averages 120 this year from this point? Maybe not, but the 115 range, yeah, I certainly think it's achievable if all things go well. I don't know what they're going to do with their midfield mix. There's a lot of question marks there. As long as he doesn't play forward, I'm happy with the pick. Even if he spends a little bit of time down back, even got a kick in last week, that's all good with me. That midfield defensive role, wonderful. I'm just not keen to see that forward role. So I am pretty keen to actually roll the dice with Dawson. I'm not sure if I will, but he's certainly someone that is a realistic selection for me. When we're talking about rolling the dice as well, we've also got a couple of doggies players. So if I was to get rid of Dawson, the first bloke that I could look to go down back here is someone that similar to, and it's not a matter of chasing points, but similar to Jordan Dawson, just played out of his skin, and it's Bailey Dale. So, wow, 422,600. We know that he's had a sub-affected game already this year. So if we look at his scores, he's had an 87, 103, 93, then 47. That wasn't his sub game, just a really off game from him. A 12, and then that 175. If you look at the fantasy stats, 15 and 8, 13 and 10, 19 and 6, down to 9 and 7, only 16 touches there. Don't take anything from the sub game. And then take a look at this, would you? 39 touches, if you don't mind. Excuse me. 29 of those kicks. Efficiency was good as well. Well, pretty decent. And there was so much to like about this pick. However, Ed Richards wasn't back. He actually played midfield because Libba was out. They mixed things up a little bit. And could that affect Dale in a big way? I'm worried potentially that it could. Now, if you look at those other scores here, there's nothing to write home about. But even back to last year, some of the good, some of the bad, when he's on, he's really on. Taking those kick-outs, there's so much to like about it when he's played in that position, when he's actually taking that responsibility and is the main distributor out of the defensive 50. But it just hasn't been the case all year this year. The value, though, at 422K is phenomenal. What you could look to do is even boost here. So you could boost, and with 398K, I could also go potentially a Dawson in to the midfield. So I'm going to go right off track here, but let's go a little bit crazy for a sec. So Williams, I've got to do. All right, so let's use a boost, and let's just say Cadman I want out, which then allows me to then bring Reed in, which is more of an ideal setup for me. I've now got 679. So if I went with Dale there, I could literally bring in any midfielder that I want. You could even use some DPP and get a defender in. So that's certainly another move that I could look to make. The other move I've got here, we'll talk about another doggies player, is Jack Macrae. 123 Supercoach points now. Oh, what do you do with Jack Macrae? Is this fool's gold? I'm just not too sure because the CBA rate wasn't actually fantastic. Now, I've got it up. Now, I won't actually get up on the screen, but I'll just close the ad. So Jack Macrae was 34%. So you had Trelaw 86, English 90, the Bont 79, Richards was the big mover with 76%. Now, this is the issue. Does he go back and then Libba comes in again? That's most likely what I think is going to happen. So, Jack Macrae. He's absolute Supercoach royalty. He'll go down in the Supercoach Hall of Fame list, but his coach won't. Like, his coach is like the Relton Roberts, the absolute... No. I don't want to go off on Relton, but the no hope coaches of Supercoach. Clarko stuffed me this week. Bevo stuffed me. Sam Mitchell stuffed me with Massimo. Like, big finger to all you guys. But I just don't know if I can go there. Now, I think Cat, the great man, is a fan of the selection. I'm going to chat with him, see if he can convince me on it. Again, this is why I need advice this week. This video is probably going to go for so long. I'm so sorry, but I think these guys need a fair bit of discussion. Could you imagine, though, trading in two of Bevo's boys, Dale and Macrae? This could be asking for the biggest pain ever. Like, am I smart for going for ultimate value here? Like, imagine if Dale continues that role, averages 105 to 110. This is like an Einstein type pick. Like, well done, DR, pat in the back. Macrae, if he can go anywhere near 100 to 105, more than that is, wow, just something I wouldn't have expected. If he can do that sort of stuff, again, I'm an absolute genius. But I could see myself as early as next week, if not the week after that, going, what on earth were you thinking, mate? You know who they're coached by. They've had really dodgy seasons to date. Both of these blokes who you're bringing in at, 480 and 422, great value, but still, we're not talking rookies here, have actually started as a sub. Bevo's capable of anything and everything. So, it's such a risk. I want value, but I just don't know if I'm looking for that much value. I just think that is getting to pretty crazy type levels. So let's get those two blokes out of the side for a sec. I could simply look to go down again, because if you look at the options that we've got to actually downgrade to the week after this, I don't think that there are too many fantastic options. So if you go to the break even, closer you've got. Now, Biggie is an interesting one. I'm really worried when Dawson comes back, and I said to really consider him. He'd need to play out of his skin, or not even play out of his skin, but give me a nice 75 plus. Unfortunately, here with that 46, I think he copped a bit of a knock, which may give him a bit of an excuse. But remember, he did have that backline role when Comben was moved forward. He just didn't do enough for me. And with Dawson looking fit in potentially 1 to 2 weeks, I feel that his spot is the one that could be up for grabs. So I'm probably not going to go there. Lafayette, a game out of the box, but before that, he's done absolutely nothing. Drury's an interesting one. 39. I didn't really love the role from what I was seeing, watching the game on and off. Not someone I'm overly confident on. Garcia, I'm getting in. Now, Rolly Garcia is the bloke that could be available in another week's time for us. So what did he score? So 82 after the first game. Again, it's all about the second game, and job security could be questionable with Libba coming back. I'm really not too sure with Garcia, but definitely one that we will monitor and just watch for this week. Hopefully he gets named again. Answorth, I'm not going there. Ransom, no. Manor, Tunstall will be on the bubble. Negative break even of 11, but always a chance for a sub risk. Now, this would be the bloke that I probably would go with this week, and it's McAuliffe. So we know what Richmond's midfield's like at the moment, just getting absolutely beaten up. I think they need to look for the next gen. I think Presti could be back in a couple of weeks, but when you say Presti is back for a couple of weeks, he's probably back for 2 quarters or a half, and then he gets injured again. I hate to say that, but look, it's realistic, isn't it? He comes back maybe a couple of weeks, few weeks at best, and then he just gets injured. So his body's just no good. It's absolutely shot, Prestia. So does he get an extended run? Does he get a good enough short-term run? The break even is only -7. So if you're not overly keen on using a boost and going early this week, you could just go the week after. Let's just say he scores a 60. Then you're paying up an extra 30K, but you may get a better idea on security, his role, his potential, the risk of being a sub or being subbed off. Yeah, you don't love doing that, do you? It's probably the best move to go this week, but in order to do that, I personally may be using a boost, because I'm definitely getting Garcia. Actually, I definitely would be using a boost because I'm really looking to upgrade at the moment. So, yeah, a lot of question marks for me. In order to boost, I usually need to be really confident. The other thing I want to do is also make sure I've got enough money next week, and that will be to bring in Tim English. So that's my big move. Well, when I say big move, I know lots of other people probably look to do the same thing. but I think that's his lowest price point. The other option I've got is skip English, wait for Rowan the week after that. But, I think I probably need to do something in my rucks as soon as possible. And this, when I get English in, I think it will be the ideal week where he comes down in price. So that's another thing that I really need to keep in mind here. So, yeah, I really don't even know if I'm going to boost. What I do like about boosting, again, is getting this structure right so that Reed's able to go up forward. And then I can bring the midfielder in. So I've pretty much gone through all the options. I've got a couple of other names written down here. So I've gone through Stewart. Garcia's an absolute lock. Walsh, Zeret, Sarong, and Dawson are probably the midfielders that I'm looking at. Up forward, I didn't talk about Dane Zorko. Oh, man. 547,000. Low break even. He's just looking so good in that role. And the role's just his until I think he breaks down. Do they give him a rest? Well, I think with the position that Brisbane are in at the moment, they just can't afford to. He has said himself that he's running the best that he has since around 2019. I've talked in previous weeks about the needling that he's been getting. Other players have had it done and have said it has been career changing. It is so much a risk, though. If we're talking after the bye, I'd actually go there. I probably would have gone there last week, as I said in my last video. But this just, again, has the potential to just absolutely screw with me. It'll give me a lion. I don't have a lion, and I don't even have to boost to go here. But, oh, man, I just don't know if I could do it. I'd almost be happy to pay up. But, no, you don't want to pay up for a Zorko type, do you? Oh, it's a risk, but I really don't think that I can go there. That's pretty much everyone I'm looking at. Rowan in English, I've already mentioned that for the Rucks. I'm going to cancel those trades. And look, to be honest, the most likely trade that I think I'm going to make is going to be Williams out. Then someone's going to go back for him. Could be anyone. Let's just say it's Closey. Goes back. Then I go for absolute value and go Jordan Dawson. That's the most likely trade that I'm going to make. It's either going to be that or Dan Houston down back. You need to tell me which one of those two you like better. Or do you reckon I should go for a Sarong type? Do you like your Macrae, your Zorko, boost and bring your Dale in as well and just go for a bit of a Hail Mary that Bevo doesn't stuff him too much? Yeah, it's a hard decision. And I really, again, I don't like Cadman being back. I really, really don't like, back up forward on field. I don't like that. I'm not loving Darcy at the moment. I've just got sub vibes with Darcy. Do they give him a rest with Lob coming back in? I just don't know what the case is going to be with him. So that does concern me a little bit. Howes, I'd love to get off field if possible for someone else, but I think he's going to be okay for now. The big question probably from here is, do I actually boost? Do I get McAuliffe this week? Because really, it doesn't look like there's going to be anyone the week after apart from possibly Garcia. But I really don't know what his job security is going to be like. I don't know if that score was just one that was out of the box. If he goes to 40 next week, he's probably not looking great all of a sudden. So you'll need to let me know there. If I was to boost, do I just go a heap of money in the bank? Next week, I need to get Tim English in. So with 287K, it would be probably, it could be Massimo. He shouldn't lose money this week, should he? All depends about that sub risk. So break even to 45, surely at least gets to a 45. And then he is 348. Yeah, well, I'll definitely have enough. 548. Yeah, I'll definitely have enough just in the one trade to go, say, Massimo up to English. And you obviously just do that with some DPP. But it's dangerous DPP doing it with Massimo, because then I bring a forward down. Now I can't really do that. The play would be probably Cadman, and I'd still have enough money to do that, I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe not. How much money have I got if I trade Cadman this week? 568. Just depends how much English comes down. And then it'd have to be a Garcia. But again, I'm banking on him. I could also go maybe just D'Ambrosio down. Yeah, so I could go late on McAuliffe and go D'Ambrosio down. I know that I'll be paying a little bit more for McAuliffe. That could be a move. And by being too stingy, should I just get McAuliffe in this week and use my boost? Maybe that's what I need to do. All right, so let's do that. I just don't know. Is he going to be the best one that we get? 450. I'm only going to have one boost left. That does concern me, because I'm almost sure that I'll need two. There'll come to a point where I just need to sort of get the best of both worlds type situation in particular round. All right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the team a little bit better. That may be really bad. Sorry if you're on your mobile device, but 450k, and then that's the team there. So look, do you go, maybe you might do that just for now, get Garcia on, but it makes me feel a lot better having Cadman off field there. All right, so everything's looking good. Now the next move would be to obviously get to get Jackson forward in order to upgrade to English. That will likely be maybe a Sam Darcy next week, because still got a lowish break even, low 30s, but I think the week after that will rise. So I think he'll be ready to chop. I think Massimo's another one that will be ready to chop. So potential move, I think, the week after is going to be bring Dogger down to the forward line, and then Darcy for English. That will be the move next week. And then I'm most likely looking to get Petrarca the week after, and then it'll be Tom Stewart. So, yeah, these will be the pieces that I'll probably use next week, D'Ambrosio and Darcy. If I've got enough coin left over and I like what I see from Jack Macrae, possibly him. But with a Dawson, I think you almost need to jump now. You could wait a week. I think his break-even's around the 70 mark. So you could wait just for confirmation when Crouch comes back. But I may just take the value now. I think that's what I'll probably do. So that is the team. Now let's quickly talk about captains and vice captains. So we've got Maxi nice and early against Richmond. Essendon, Collingwood. Geez, you'd love to get Zerrett, wouldn't you? Giants and Brisbane. I'm just not really willing to go on green at the moment. Don't trust Importance and Kilda. You could go Zach Butters there to still have a comeback game, possibly, but just not confident. Geelong, no. Carlton doesn't do anything for me. Freo and the Dogs. Does Ryan have another big game? Not sure what the Dogs are like for leaking to opposition defenders. I'll have to see there. 5 wouldn't trust. I'll tell you what, Dan Houston. I love the Houston pick against St Kilda this week. Oh, do I find a crazy way to try to boost for Dawson? No, I don't think I can boost for Dawson and Houston. I may have a bit of a play around with it later. But I don't think that I can. I don't think I'll have the cash to be able to do that. But if I did get Houston, I would absolutely look to VC him against St Kilda. That could be a crazy game from Houston. Freo, Dogs, so it could be Bont. Optus Stadium. Gee, I remember I was at Canberra last year watching the Lions play the Giants, and Bont went nuts as my VC. I think it was like a 160 plus type score, and I think it was over there. So maybe I'll go with Bont, go back to the well. North, the Shees. He could be a pretty safe backup captaincy option, to be honest. But there has been a little bit of talk. Clarko did mention something crazy like the move to the midfield or the transition to the midfield for Harry Sheasel could come sooner rather than later or quicker than expected. So red flags there, alarm signs. Oh, the Suns are playing West Coast. Macrae's going to go off. Macrae is going to go nuts. And Gold Coast have a good fixture as well. Maybe I need to rethink and just get Real in. All right, but captains, oh my goodness. Captains, sorry, this video has gone for so long. You've probably tuned out by now. I apologize, but this is sort of, I don't know if you could call it thinking because I'm absolutely fried at the moment, but yeah, I need some sleep. All right, so captains, all right, just for now, look, it's hard to go past Gawn, isn't it, in current form? The Tigers last week, who did the Tigers play last week? See, this, I am fried. Freo, Darcy actually scored pretty well, didn't he? I think. I don't know what Gawn's history is like with them. But you know what? Just for now, I will need to think about this a lot more. I'm going to just go Gawn as vice captain. Oh, sorry, round 8. Sorry. 7. Yeah, I'll go Gawn as vice captain. And I'll go into the Bont. Oh, Heaney Hawthorn. Jeez. Is it silly to skip past Gawn? Maybe I've got Butters there as well. Damn. Okay. I might actually go Bont VC. Maybe look at Heaney. Will Finn go to him? Will Finn be able to stop him? Possibly. Maybe that's too risky as my captain. But it'll most likely be out of Bont, Heaney, and Gawn for those options there. Now, just very quickly, I might just... Right, so... Can I update this? Call if... Yeah, see, now it's just not quite enough to go to Houston. If I did trade out, though... Do you know what? If I traded out D'Ambrosio instead of Cadman, then I could actually get Houston in this week. So I could do that. The issue is that I would not have enough money, I don't believe, to go to English the week after. That would be my major concern. All right. Very quickly, sorry. I'm just going to confirm these changes. Sorry, you can absolutely tune out now. I do apologize. All right, so let's trade out. All right, so let's get him back. I'm just going to see if I can do it. Oh, I'm going to captain the bugger now. All right, so trade Williams, and let's bring in Houston. We'll trade Sanders. So Williams, Sanders, Houston, Garcia, and that would be Massimo to Dawson. I could do that. Williams, Sanders, Massimo out. Houston, Garcia, and Dawson. So 2 upgrades. And then who I think is probably the must-have rookie this week. All right, how are we looking there now? So, and that way I'd have Houston as my VC. So then the team would look like Sheasel, Ryan, Houston, Dacos, Martin, and then it would be Howe's out and then Stewart in. So my defense would be complete in, let's just say, 3 weeks. And I think it's a really nice defense. So Sheasel, Ryan, Houston, Dacos, Martin, then Stewart. I would be super, super happy with that defense. There's no one really that I'd be worried about not having. Yo's one that lots of people would like to have. I'd like to have him, but I'd be worried about that. And I was never going to go there. So that would be the ideal defense for me, actually. Then you've got Butters, Bont, Steele, Green, who I think is maybe question marks on Green, but top 8. Dawson could be the fringe of 8 to 10 if he really changes things around. But that is really my M8 that I'm paying up for there. Then here you're looking at Petrarca, Sarong, Real, Zeret types, if I can afford to go up there. Now, stinging on Dawson, that means that hopefully I can. Hopefully I can do that. The other thing, again, here, the option I've got here is just go Sarong instead of Houston this week and just get that big midfielder in as well as Dawson. That's another option that I've got as well. But whatever I do here, I will need to pay up. This is going to be valued with Tom Stewart, though, so a nice fall in premium. I do need to plan for that. This comes to my big issue, though, and maybe I could look at the Rowan move and give myself another week up the sleeve and just skip English. But I'm so keen on Tim English, and this is something I've really planned for. And while I would be loathed to do this boost to get Houston and Dawson in, because I just don't see a way that I can get to English next week unless it's with Dogger, and I'm just not keen on that. So it would be Darcy. So let's just say that there's a world where. So what are they projecting him? So with a 71, he'll make 18K. Does he even get to 71? Let's just say that he does. 18K gets him just over 300. So again, where are the downgrade options here? I don't know. I don't know where they'll be. So 300, let's just say that you get your Garcia type. That's 180. Who am I putting on 180? The other one would be Cadman to get to English. You're not. I just can't do it. So that's the issue with doing that. I'm going to miss out on Tim English. I'm going to continue having to field Cadman or a Darcy, which I just don't want to do. So that's the concern. Although it looks really nice getting Houston in and Dawson in this week, I'm pretty much choosing. So if I lock Dawson in, I'm pretty much choosing Houston over being able to get English in. And I don't know if that's a good move. In saying that, he's the number one target for me in the defensive line. But English is number one target for me in the ruck line. If I wait the week and then say, well, I'll just try to get Rowan in, it's given me another week with these guys on field. And again, there's no guarantee that I'll actually be able to do that, to find that amount of cash to do it within the 2 trades, because I simply don't want to boost. So, all right, let's have a quick look at Rowan. So what have I got in the bank? So I've got, let's just say 40K, and I'm hoping that Cadman and Darcy will go up because I've already used Ambrosio, haven't I? So let's have a look at Rowan. All right, so currently at 593, gone down 45K for the season. Break even of 148. Gee, he's got good history, hasn't he? Against Port, 159, 127, 132, although different combinations, obviously. Then he's got North. Cherry's not an easy matchup. Then probably Meek at the Hawks. So 127, 106, 79 failure, 147, 120, and 51. All right, so Gorn's playing Richmond this week. He went 147. Was Nank back then? I'm not too sure, but right. Okay, so with a projected score of 110 and then a 1-2, they reckon he's going to go down over 50 and be available at around 543K. Yeah, look, It could be a move, but I'm just not guaranteed to have that coin, because the issue is with future trades, if I boost out for just say a Massimo type at that price, there's no one really high enough unless it's potentially a combin, which in and out. A 5 I don't want to trade yet, not trading him. Howes isn't really at that price either. That's going to be an issue for me. That's going to be a big issue for me. So I really think that I need to be sensible, and either I could probably still go English next week and go Houston over your Dawson, yeah, because it's really not that much. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not willing to do that. If I boost, it's going to be down from a call-off to have that extra coin in the bank, I think. All right, so there we go. All right, so I'm not going to go in anymore, guys. I have absolutely raved on with this video. But as I said, there are just so many options this week. Hopefully, I've gone through most of the blokes that you were looking at yourself. Still undecided, but most likely for me would be to go Garcia in. So Sanders to Garcia is an absolute lock. That won't change. That's going to give me a fair bit of coin. The most logical move for me then would be to get Dawson in. And to be honest, I think that I may use that boost because I'm worried about the upcoming rookies or the potential lack of upcoming rookies on the horizon. I'm just not sure if I see them there at the moment. So Garcia comes in. Williams will go out. Sorry about this, guys, but I just wanted to let you know what my final thoughts probably are, because I've gone through so many different scenarios here. I may be going too much value here with Dawson. You may want, you may say to me, no, go Houston while he's hot, but paying that much for a defender, again, not too sure. And then it would be old hold Massimo. So then it would be Cadman out, who again has some more coin to make, but he would be the sacrificial one there in order to get Reed in my forward line, and playing him looking a lot more friendly there, just giving me more options on field. And then going, McAuliffe. 450k, and then, things are looking so much easier to lock in Tim English. I would just really like to do that in the rucks, because, with the way that Dog is looking at the moment, I may just have to let go of him if he's going downhill. Hey, you may say just get rid of Dogger this week, but the issue is you're going way early on English and you're going too early on Rowan. Like, if this was like, if Dogger's break even was the week after, like when English was at his friendliest price or Rowan was, I'd probably just do it, to be honest. But it's just too early for me to make any ruck moves. So that's pretty much what I'm looking to do, guys, with my trades. So again, just to make it look better, Martin would come on. No loops here that I can use. No non-playing players here. Who do you play on field? I'm probably just going to go with Garcia, to be quite honest. Who are the Saints? Oh, Porter are tough, but he'll tackle. Hopefully contested, and he'll tackle. Wilson more of the outside. Graham. Oh, they're playing Hawthorn. The issue is that, who's more of a sub-risk? Graham, Garcia. Look, maybe you go Graham. Richmond are playing Melbourne. Maybe McAuliffe. Yeah, that's a bit of a tough one. I think I'm really not too sure there at the moment. And yeah, I'm just going to risk it. Hopefully, look, Combin or Darcy, who plays first? So Darcy plays first. Oh, they play at the same time. So I'm just going to have to choose there. Damn, I can't loop. Would I rather loop Garcia? Yeah, so I'll be able to loop Garcia, actually. So what I might do, what might be better for me, is to do something like that. And then I'll be able to loop Garcia, just say with a Darcy. Unless Sexton gets another game, I'm not too sure, but that might be the most sensible play there. That way you can see what your Garcia gets and actually use a loop, because remember in my midfield, I wasn't actually able to use a loop there. This way I'm actually opening a loop because your Darcy and your Garcia, who was it? Darcy and whoever it was were playing at the same time. I think I've done that right. All right, that is going to be it, guys. That is going to be it. Let's just say I go boom, and boom, and there. I don't know. No, he's vice captain. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. I am going to leave you there. I need to get to bed. The little fella hasn't messaged me on the phone yet, so hopefully he's sound asleep. This is it for the round review with a very, very quick turnaround. We're going to bang out this Swordplay potty as soon as we can. And the stock market is going to be an extremely quick one this week, but it will be my commitment. I'm obviously got the day off, so I've taken the day off work to look after little man. I will use part of today if I've got some spare time. Hopefully he just has a really good sleep to get some of the stocky done. So stay tuned for that. We'll be out earlier this week because remember, we have a very early game. So I'm going to leave you there, guys. All the best of luck for now, and I'll see you very soon with the stocky as well as the Swordplay potty. Much love, much peace. I'll see you the next time. I'm losing it. See you guys. Bye.